This is Kim with Geauga Firearms Academy. Thanks for watching. Today we're gonna do it. We're gonna talk about why I hate the EZ. And before all the little trolls come out, start typing away. I said, I hate it. You can like it, that's fine. You can break my little ginger heart if you want. If you're not familiar with it, the EZ was created so it's really easy to rack it, which I understand, and I think that's a great idea and concept, but it has a lot of features I'm not a fan of. I don't think women need this. I think they need proper training on how to rack the slide without using a lot of grip strength, because a lot of women don't have a lot of grip strength. So if you stay tuned, one of my upcoming videos is gonna be how to rack a gun. And I'm gonna show you some tips and tricks and all the things I teach women that I meet. I've had students in their 80s with arthritis. I had one student who had a neurological disorder, and she actually had hardly any strength in her support hand, and she was still able to rack it. Why I'm making this video is this gun is very popular right now. I've had so many women come and do a lesson with me. I do a lot of shooting fundamentals, or kind of learn to shoot lessons, or a class, and they bring it in, and many of them have never even shot before, and they're all excited to show me their new gun, and then I'm like, not a fan. And then I tell them why, and I go through the reasons, which I'm going to tell you right now. I love the idea behind it, and I think that's great, but the design is terrible, and the execution was poorly done. This grip safety is poorly designed. Why they decided to change it up after we've had grip safeties on handguns for many, many years, and this new design is just not reliable. For example, the 1911 has had a grip safety forever, and it works just fine. I've never had an issue with it. It's short and fat versus being long and skinny, and it's worked and it's been reliable. The Springfield XDM also has a grip safety, but if you notice, it's also very short and fat, and I've never had any issues with this gun. I also used to carry the Springfield XDS, and that was my original carry gun, and I had no problems because it had the same exact short, fat, original grip safety. The 1911 and the XDM are top-mounted grip safety, so if you notice, they're towards the top, just both of these. The EZ is a bottom-mounted grip safety, so it's harder to get that leverage on it. Brings me to my second point, which has to do with that grip safety. What it causes shooters to do is to grip harder with their shooting or their dominant hand, which causes, if you know, most shooters, if you're right-handed, are gonna shoot to the left. Also low, but that's another video. And most left-handed shooters are gonna shoot to the right. So now we're telling you to grip even harder with your shooting hand, which causes you to shoot more to the left or to the right if you're left-handed. We took it out shooting, and you can see, I'll throw my target up there, you can see that I was shooting more to the left. Why? Because I had to keep increasing that grip on my shooting hand. If you know anything about grip, you actually want to have a stronger grip with your support hand, not your shooting hand. And when building that proper grip, we want to have consistent grip with our shooting hand. And what this causes shooters to want to do intuitively is to grip even harder and squeeze as you're pressing the trigger, which causes the shots to go to the left. The other issue with having that grip safety is gloves. I did, when we went out shooting, I did wear my very, very, very thin, like knit gloves, and it worked, well, about as well as it did without gloves, which wasn't very reliable. However, in classes, I've had people bring them, especially during the winter and the fall, and if your glove's even a little bit thick, it causes even more issues. So there's something else to think about. On top of being easy to rack, they also give you these tabs on your magazines to make it easier to load, and the magazine's shaped a little differently. I have seen some magazine feeding issues with it as well. The most recent issue I found with it was I was at the range with a new student, and we were going to take it apart to field strip it, and I realized it got stuck, and I never seen that before. So I asked our gunsmith, Daryl, and he said it's a very, very common issue.
So I'm going to jump in here for just a second. This is more of a mechanical issue that may help some of you who do have this gun and still love it. The grip safety can cause an issue when you are field stripping the gun. It does say in the manual not to press it or when you're taking the slide off, which is kind of weird because of the way you hold it. That's really not the biggest issue. What I find is that when students are trying to put this back together, the issue is this. As the slide comes back, you're going to get to right about here somewhere, the back of the slide. If you are holding the gun fairly normally where this is depressed, you're going to find that you're going to hit a mechanism. I'm just going to make this real basic. So you keep hitting that. So then what you're going to have to do is make sure that you release that which will allow the mechanism to fall down. Then you can push it all the way back, lock it to the rear, put your takedown lever. So if you run into the problem with reassembly where you keep hitting this issue where it's making contact, the back of the slide's making contact with the internal part there, you just got to make sure that you release the grip safety so that will come down and then you can pull the slide back. Also note, if you do squeeze this and you press the trigger, you're going to find out this is not a striker fired, it's a hammer fired, and it will come flying forward. So just be aware of that. If that's the case, make sure you put the hammer back down before you put the slide back on. I just want to say one thing. First of all, I am a Smith & Wesson armorer, so not that it makes any real difference, but I'm a big fan of Smith & Wesson. I have almost one of every copy of their products out there. I carry the Shield Plus for a long, long time, and I think it's a fantastic gun. So I want you guys to understand, I'm not hating on Smith & Wesson as a company. I'm just hating on the specific product because it's poorly designed. And I'm not afraid to say it when I see it. Like, this is just not a well-designed product. I think that they should fix this. I think I should go back to the drawing board and make this a better deal. So I just want to be clear on that. I'm not a Smith & Wesson hater. In fact, I'm a big fan. But when I see something that doesn't work the way it's supposed to, and by the way, when I say that, I'm not talking about just from my experience. And what I'm really talking about is all the students that come to us that buy this firearm have the exact same issue. So it's not like a me thing, it's a design thing. If it happens over and over, that's the common denominator. So that's where I'm coming from in this video.
With all the issues with the grip safety, I would not carry this myself. I would not tell any of my loved ones to carry this gun. I need something that's gonna work 100% of the time. And when we've mentioned this before in other videos, I know everyone says, well, my wife has it and she has no issues. Okay, you go to a range and you shoot hundreds of rounds at some cardboard. That is almost perfect condition. I've never seen the cardboard come and kick your butt. Now you or your loved ones are about to receive serious bodily harm or death. You are not gonna have a perfect grip. Your hands are probably gonna be shaking and sweaty. You're gonna have tunnel vision and probably ringing in your ears, and your adrenaline's gonna dump, and it's not gonna be a perfect condition. Just in classes, with just adding a little bit of stress of people watching you or putting a shot timer on or anything like that, I can tell you, they continue to fail. If you're looking to buy a new gun or looking to buy a new gun for your wife or girlfriend, mother, whoever, before you do that, please go and have them try it out. Have them go test it out. Spend that money on training, because most people go and buy a gun before they even shoot, which is crazy. Think about, would you go buy a car before you have ever driven? No, and you definitely want to test drive it before you bought it. So do that with your handguns as well. So instead of just going to a store and buying what, you know, everyone's recommending is best for women, how about you go do a lesson, you try out some handguns, you see what fits you best, because they're like cars, and you know what the perfect vehicle for you is going to be different than for me and for whoever else. And you got to figure out what's best for you. I'm going to roll in the footage now of us shooting outside so you can check that out. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Oh, I already have one problem. It's dead. So I gotta increase my grip now. So out of that magazine of 8, I had one time where the trigger was dead. So now we're gonna try to shoot it with these gloves on. These are gloves I wear when I shoot my guns normally, so it should hopefully work. So let's check it out. Oh, it's dead. I have to fix my grip again. All right. Well, we had it happen again with the gloves, so it did work. It's about as good as with just my normal hands, but still that does not make me feel comfortable and confident in carrying this.
If we look at what the issue is, here's the, by comparison, I'm just going to give you this as the XD the Springfield XD, they've always had the same grip safety up top. I've never had an issue with it. It's not so much pressure as it is design. So I'm going to show you here with the most imperfect grip we can come up with. Because again, my true issue with the EZ is that this is a tool that we may use for defensive purposes, and I'm not planning on best case scenario. I'm working on worst case scenario. So what if I don't have a perfect grip? So let's take a look at the XD here in comparison. If I have my great grip on here, everything looks great, wonderful. Obviously, we're not going to have any issues. Yes, works great. Now, what happens if I don't have a perfect grip? So let's say that I have this huge gap here, huge gap. Everybody would say that's an imperfect grip. And let's also just add for fun, I only have one hand, very realistic. So I only have one hand. Will the gun shoot? Well, looks like without issue, okay? So it doesn't really matter whether my grip is perfect or not. Even if I try to take the pressure off back here, I'm trying to create a gap back here with just like a one-handed scenario. Again, zero issues. This will still fire in pretty much any configuration, any type of grip. I mean, I'm trying to make it not go bang. As long as I have something touching here, I'll pretty much use 2 fingers. Yeah, it still shoots. So no matter what, if I have some contact with the grip, which obviously we're going to have in order for this to work, the gun's going to work. Now let's look at this in comparison to the EZ. All right, so now we got the EZ ready to go. If I do the same thing where I have the kind of an imperfect grip, I'll even get myself a better grip. No matter how hard I press this trigger, this will never go bang. I have to get a full presentation of the in order for it to go bang. As I showed you with the last one, when I use 2 fingers, there's no amount of pressure. Even if I get my hand all the way up here, like I showed you the last time with a one-handed grip, there's no way that's ever going to go bang. It has to be a full compression. You have to get the meat, and I have pretty big hands, so it's going to be fairly easy for me to do this. If I don't have a perfect grip, the tool isn't going to do what I'm asking it to do, which I don't like. So even here, if I'm, oh, there, we finally got one. If I'm soft, there we go, we got another one. It's just not a reliable, I know it's gonna go bang. Sometimes it goes, sometimes it doesn't. Like, let's see this one. There, we finally got it. I really have to hunker down and make sure that that is totally on there in order for that to happen. I cannot trust this to be 100%. The other thing I want to point out is that this should run flawlessly based on just my sheer hand size. So compared to the gun, there's no way that I should ever have any issues whatsoever firing this, because I have so much meat that I can put on this gun to be able to grip it. I mean, this is what my full grip would look like. I mean, it's almost no gun left. So I should never have an issue with this, and I certainly am not reliable with this.
Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. Hopefully I can stop one more person from walking in and bringing that gun, and then they find out it's a terrible fit for them, and then they end up losing out on money, because whether or not you actually use it or not, it's still a used gun when they take it back. Hopefully I can save one person from doing that. Go get some training first. Find out what really fits you best. And no, you do not need an EZ. You can rack the gun just fine. And if you just subscribe and wait, I'm going to do an updated video about how to rack a gun if you have weak grip strength. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys click that bell so you get notified every time we put a video out. We're also on Facebook, on Instagram, on Rumble, and we put all of our premium content on Patreon. Until next time, remember, it's always better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6.